and joined now by Travis Miller from Boiler Upload. Big games all weekend, first of all, in college basketball. I mean, just some great big-time matchups. I cannot believe, well, I should never say I cannot believe, but Kansas just throttled Houston. I'm like, okay, hello. That opened some eyes. I mean, I know that they were at home, so that makes a huge difference, but that game was not close early on. They got out and got away, and man, it never got any better for Houston.
Yeah, it makes you wonder if they could do the NCAA tournament like they do so many other sports, and even the women's NCAA tournament where you get to play at home, at least for a couple of rounds and stuff.
No,
You know, you've got baseball.
No. I say no to that. No, not the NCAA tournament. That's part of what makes the NCAA tournament great, because there's no way a low seed will ever win, hardly ever. I mean, there's no 16 seed going to come into Mackey and knock off Purdue. Or, you know, I could go down the line on that. So that's why I say I put the kibosh on that, hopefully.
Well, maybe if you got to play like the regional finals at home, you know, you keep the first and second round as they are, but if you're a 1 seed, you get the Sweet 16 and Elite 8 at home. I'm fine with that.
Well, hell, Purdue will get to play in Indianapolis most likely, or Louisville. It's usually one of those two places. So the NCAA has done a job of keeping a lot of teams closer if you earn that right. But Purdue is definitely on the way to earning that. And more importantly, I personally think that they may have, even though there are a lot of games left, to me, that win this weekend at Wisconsin for Purdue, man, that's a league sealer for me. I'm like, wow, they just beat what is probably the second best team in the league. I don't know if it's them or Illinois. It depends on what day for Illinois, but right now, Purdue is just I don't know if they can be caught. Of course, if they lost every game out, but that ain't happening.
It definitely was a big step towards winning the Big Ten again, just because you look at the schedule in the last 8, Purdue's next 5 games, they're going to be a big favorite. 4 of them are against teams in the bottom 4 of the standings.
Well,
they got
3 out of the next
Indiana.
4 they're at home.
Yeah, they got Indiana, Minnesota, Michigan, Ohio State, and Rutgers in the next 5. And 3, you know, as you said, 3 of those are at home, and they're going to be in real good shape. If they go, I mean, they should, if they take care of business, be 15-2 before a finishing kick of Michigan State, at Illinois, and Wisconsin. So, I mean, they're in great shape. And the craziest thing is they could have been done in the race easily by now. Last Wednesday against Northwestern, they are down 5 points with 2.5 minutes to go. They lose that game. If Wisconsin doesn't blow a lead at Nebraska, suddenly Wisconsin and Purdue are playing yesterday for a game that would have put Purdue 3 games back in the standings. So, I mean, it's amazing how quickly things can change. And I know we were talking in the pre-show here, the difference is Lance Jones. He has gone out and he has made the plays to get Purdue wins in the last 3 games. And I so much is on him. If Purdue finally does get it done this year, Lance Jones is going to be the reason, and he is going to go down and just be loved by every Purdue fan out there.
Oh, absolutely. And just getting it done is, for Purdue, is getting to a Final Four, something that they have only accomplished twice in their history. And the last time was 1980. And that is, you want to talk about carrying a yoke around your neck, especially with the success they've had over the last decade. Not making a Final Four is just hanging over this program. As good as Gene Cady was, he never made it to a Final Four. As good as Matt Painter has been, and the consistency they've had in West Lafayette, they've just never been able to get to a Final Four. 2016, I think, they were so close. But this is a year that I say there's no way that they don't make it. But I don't believe that, because I just watched Kansas beat the ever-loving crap out of a team that I thought was pretty sure going to make the Final Four. Well, that's out the window. That's why they have to play the games, man. And if it's a game that Lance Jones does not play well and things don't go well, we've seen it. Purdue can be beat. They're not undefeated. Nobody is undefeated for that reason. Everybody can be beat. You have to have your A game. If not, people are going to bring it.
Oh, yeah. And I have seen Purdue in my lifetime lose every type of tournament game they can lose. I mean, I don't think anything is outside the realm of possibility when it comes to Purdue losing in the tournament. And you talk about, not making a Final Four. They've only made 3 Elite Eights in that time. They made it with Glenn Robinson in 1994 as a number 1 seed, lost to Duke. They had the broken bracket in 2000, made it to the Elite Eight, and lost to Wisconsin, which was the 3rd time they lost to Wisconsin in 4 tries that year, because they lost to them in the Big Ten tournament and in Madison. And then you have 2019, where you get as close as you can possibly get to going. I mean, they lose the game on a last-second shot that sends it to overtime. And you're literally a split second away from going to the Final Four. So this team has come that close, and then they've lost to a 16 seed. Only 2 teams in history can say that on the men's side. So, you still got to play the games, and that's why nothing is certain yet. Purdue fans are always going to be on guard. I'm especially going to be on guard. But you're right. This team looks like, if it doesn't happen, when is it going to happen, honestly? Because they've got everything in place. They're deep, they're talented, they're experienced. I mean, you got guys like Miles Colvin shooting 43% from 3 from the floor, and he's made a difference in some early season games. He hasn't even played the last 3 games. He's the 10th man in the rotation right now. And when you've got a guy in reserve like that you might be able to bring off the bench and hit 3 threes in a game out of nowhere. I mean, how many teams have that right now? And then, Zach Edey is just part of it. I mean, everybody else is really, really good. And Purdue is surviving and even thriving in some stretches where Edey is getting rest on the bench. And then you bring Edey in, and, he is an automatic 20 and 10 every night.
Purdue is what looks like a game and a half out in front of Illinois right now, and 21-2 overall. They're 11-0 at Mackey, 10-2 in the conference play. They've won 7 straight. Illinois in tied with second, and with Wisconsin in second at 8-3. But the Illini are 17-5 overall, 12-2 at home, and they've won 3 straight. So that's the only game. That's the biggest game left on Purdue's schedule, and they travel to over to play it at Illinois for that game.
Yes, and that's the second to last game of the season, and by then the race could all be totally decided. I mean,
right?
Illinois and Wisconsin still have to play each other in Madison, so there's one. They have one more loss between the 2 of them there, and if Purdue takes care of business before that, you're going to look at them being 16-2 going to Champaign. So, Illinois has to be virtually perfect from here on out to even have a chance in that game, most likely. So, again, anything can happen. I mean, that game at Ohio State could be a little bit tricky, even though Ohio State looks like they're done. Never count out Tom Izzo with Michigan State when they come to West Lafayette on March the 2nd. But Purdue is very much in a good spot right now. You can't be in a better spot, honestly.
Who would be more pissed off, IU fans right now or Purdue fans, if they get beat in the tournament prior to making a Final Four?
I think it depends on who and where it happens. If Purdue loses to another double-digit seed for the 4th year in a row, that's really going to get under some people's skins, especially the way that this team is built. If they lose an Elite Eight game against a really good number 2 seed, say Houston slips to a 2 and beats them by a point or so, I don't think fans are going to be upset about that, especially if Purdue wins the Big Ten. But Purdue has got to at least make a Sweet 16 with this, and they cannot lose to a double-digit seed again. You
But
lose
even a
to
Sweet 16, this is the last year with Zach Edey. This is it. And there's no way that you have the college player of the year 2 years running, which rarely happens, and don't get to that level. You know that, man, that mountain's even higher after that. So if it does not happen this year with everything they have around him, because we talked about Lance Jones, that being the kind of a missing link that they needed, and Matt Painter was smart enough to bring in, and it has shown to be the successful ingredient. If it does not work, I would imagine that Purdue fans, they may not be as pissed as the Indiana fans are right now, but there would be a level of, I don't know what I would call it, exasperation that is pretty damn high.
Yeah, and just because you've had so many great seasons in a row here where Purdue has been right there. I mean, you look at the last decade, the only year Purdue missed the tournament was the COVID year, and they were probably going to miss the tournament that year, but they were still at least on the edge of the bubble when the Big Ten tournament was canceled. And I would say my only caveat is look at what has happened in the last 10 or 15 years of the NCAA tournament. How many teams have made unexpected runs to the Final Four out of nowhere, really? I mean, Butler's been to the title game twice, Loyola, George Mason, Wichita State, VCU. I think Michigan State made it as a 10 seed one year. Syracuse made it as a 10 seed. As long as you're making the tournament, you've got a chance. And, my former writer, Juan Crespo, he always said that he expected Purdue to make a Final Four in a year no one expected it to happen, where they make a run like as a 5 seed or something. But I do agree with you. On paper, this is the year. This is the year that it needs to happen, because if it doesn't, who knows what's going to happen then.